This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century. It's an honor to have you on the show today. I mean, you are truly a prophet, a visionary. I saw your TED Talk in Jackson about Afrofuturism and your starting in, and I just thought that some of the things you said 3 years ago is now manifesting, as you would say, and coming to pass. Yeah. So how are you doing today? We at ground zero, where it all started for you.
In Clarksdale, Mississippi. I was raised here from a young baby, yes. Born in Tupelo, raised in Clarksdale.
So how does it come back home, the homecoming? How does it feel coming back here?
It's ironic.
Okay.
It's ironic because I come from a family of artists, siblings, all of them artists, musicians, filmmakers, producers, and comic book artists, graphic novelists, that type of thing. And we were rolled like mangy dogs because we did that growing up.
Yes, sir.
The irony is that here we are now, 40 years later, where I'm not paid to come here and teach kids the same exact thing that I was bullied for as a young boy. So that's ironic. Or perhaps bully is the wrong word, made fun of.
Yeah. What inspired you to pursue art, to become an artist?
I come from a family of artists. So my siblings were all artists, and I'm the youngest of four. And so the reality of when you're the youngest, you tend to follow your older siblings. And so my older siblings were into comics, but I was the person who kept with it. So here I am, 50 years later, starting to do comics at the age of 3, horrible stuff. Then you do the work and then you eventually get it. Then Star Wars comes out, changes your perspective. Heavy metal comes out, magazine, and it changes your perspective. And then I became a professional at it. And now I am the one who does scrap. I'm the only person who stuck with it. Everyone else went into other fields. But now even that's coming full circle because it looks like that my graphic novel work will be making the transition to film ultimately.
Oh, congratulations on that as well.
Well, it's a work in progress. It's not something that happens overnight. They have that thing called development.
Right.
That's where we are.
So we're in 2018, but you started doing your thing back in the 90s in terms of the graphic novels and comics, correct? Or
No, I started doing my thing back in the 70s.
Wow.
I started, as a young boy doing comics. My character was Thunderstar. And Thunderstar was a Jim Kelly in a yellow and orange style, what do they call it? The karate.
Yeah, I know you did.
And he had an orange thunderbolt. His name was Thunderstar. His name was Robert Starr.
Wow.
They had to make sure you put the extra R on there to make it realistic. That was the idea. So I did that, and my second oldest brother did Ryan Stevenson. And my twin brother did 2, The Monster Fighter.
Wow.
And 2, The Monster Fighter came into existence because our oldest brother, who could never finish a comic, created a character called 1. So Jim created a character called 2.
Wow.
And so that's what we did. So I've been doing comics my entire life. And it was when I went, I actually went to Jackson State for a moment, for about a year and a half. And I didn't have a cartooning major, but I was like, well, I can't do comics because that's not what grown people are supposed to do. Even though I suppose, I had spent my entire life, doing it, all of a sudden here I was thinking, okay, well, I've got to become a commercial artist, which I hated. And left there after a little kerfuffle and ended up transferring to School of Visual Arts in New York. Because they had a cartooning program. I was like, oh my God, it's a school with a cartooning program. Of course, in Mississippi, you know, you would never know that type of stuff. The guidance counselor at Aggie, where I went to school, had no clue, that, there's Tim, I'm just thinking about how that would have blown my mind as a senior. If he would have said, Mr. Fields, you should know that there is a school that does cartooning. If he had told me that, I would have gone like, what? When do I sign up? But he didn't know that. So I had to find that out after I had left Jackson State, and my oldest brother told me, yo, man, there's a school that does comics. That's what they do, and I've, of course, since learned after that there's Joe Kubert School, which is still going to this day. And there are numerous schools out there now that do cartooning as a major. White River, Vermont, Center for Cartoon Studies, Steve Passett and that crew up there doing that. Actual school devoted to cartoon.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been doing it professionally since I was 20. I was at SVA and I was a editorial cartoonist, a freelance editorial cartoonist for Village Voice.
Wow.
And I did that for a few years, actually. And so I was kind of, now in hindsight, I made a mistake by leaving college, but I decided to leave because I was already working in the industry when I was in college. So here we are, and I kept that up till 98, 99, and then I stopped from 98 till about 2014.
Really?
Yes, I was in animation.
Oh.
Lots of teaching to raise my kids, lots of animation, worked in video game industry for a millisecond, hated it, and that's what I did.
Oh, interesting. So how was the scene when you was in college coming of age in New York how was that art scene up there?
Well, I much prefer the time we're in now. And when I say that, I much prefer the time we're in now because it's like I remember talking once to a curator out there. They're actually very prominent these days. And I was like, look, do you think you guys could show my work? Because I had done this concept called Black Metropolis, which is still now come back to life. And that project, I like, look, could I show my stuff in the gallery? And they looked at me like I was crazy. And this was the 90s because no one took that type of work seriously. Afrofuturism, black people in spaceships. What is that? Orisha as giant robots, that type of thing. African sculptures as buildings. No one, what are we going to do that for? This is, 20 years before 1.5 billion of Black Panther, the movie. And, that's just what happened. And, it's a more mature environment. And the reason why that is because we're in the middle of a content war. That's what I mentioned in that TED Talk. We're in the middle of an environment where there's such the need to produce content is so morbidly outstripped by the need to consume that content. They can never produce enough content. You have people fudging their streaming numbers because they can't produce enough content. Meaning they're not fudging their numbers just to make money. They're fudging their numbers because they don't have enough content to justify the numbers. You understand what I'm saying? That's where we are. And that's, it may ebb and flow, but that's never going away because the internet simply exists. And I call it the stream, that when that bandwidth is flying through and that information is coming in text form, audio form, motion form, and it could be live action or it could be animation. It's all coming. So when you send a text, that's content. When you do a tweet, that's content. I mean, Donald Trump has just saved Twitter. Remember, there was a point where Twitter was appearing to go towards irrelevancy back in 2015, 2016. Well, Twitter's lost its way, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Now, Twitter's you have to ask yourself, this guy could destroy the world.
Right.
He has the nuclear codes. Why don't they shut his account down so he stops doing damage, right? Uh-huh. No, they let him keep going. Because he saved Twitter.
Wow. Donald
Trump saved Twitter. Mm-hmm. I would use Twitter now I use Twitter.
It's got to do it. Just like with Facebook, right?
It's like Facebook.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens, but it's like, I know the young kids I hear are moving towards Instagram, but I'm like, whatever.
But you a storyteller. I can see you excelling on Instagram though.
Well,
it's made for storytelling.
I have creating a project called High John Conqueror. I hadn't worked on it in a few months, but it is what's called a social media.
Okay.
And that social media comic is designed to operate when it comes out. It's published simultaneously on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Those are the three main guys. Right. I could do Reddit and all that. I did sign up for those accounts, but those primary three are the ones. And the reason why I did that was because I come from the direct sales comic book market, which has been dying over the last few decades, because they have an aging demographic that reads comics. The same guys that read Captain America, Spider-Man, but they want their Thor to remain a guy, not a woman. They want their Captain America to remain, Steve Rogers, not Sam Wilson. That's what they want. And you can't blame them because that's what they grew up with. You know what I mean? I don't want the Enterprise to suddenly have the saucer section to be in the rear and the sales be in the front. I want them in the back. So they propel that you have. That's what I grew up with. So, but change is an interesting thing.
Right.
And so, as a result of that, all we can do is live and deal with it and try to create wonderful art, because never before in the history of this planet has there been a deeper and more pervasive outlet to get your work out there. And that's just where we are. And it's not going anywhere.
But can it be overwhelming for an individual to there's no sense of privacy anymore, no sense of mystery or mystique, and also the demands. Not only you got to produce content, but you got to keep on steadily promote the content, and so many things you got to get on in terms of platforms. Can that be an overwhelming experience for anybody, especially a creator?
Sure, but what you gonna do?
But how do you deal with it? How do you? How you relax?
Look. I came up in an environment, which is why I know people look back nostalgically on the 90s. Oh man, you had Biggie Smalls. Right. I hated the 90s. And it's because, like the 80s, but definitely the 90s, and the earlier parts of the 2000s, everything was based on a traditional gatekeeper model. You had one person, a handful of people, deciding whether or not a handful of creators could get through into the stream, the revenue stream, the marketing stream. Now you don't have that. You have a bunch of gatekeepers, but they can't even guard all the gates. It's like no one can keep me from posting content to Twitter. They can't. Unless Twitter wants to go out of business. And I don't think Twitter wants to go out of business. Twitter's business model is built on people tweeting. That's a content outlet. Facebook. Yes, I know they brought him before court, Zuckerberg. But Zuckerberg's model is built on people posting. And people posting on Instagram and Facebook. There's nothing that's going to change that. So YouTube is built on people posting videos. I don't know where this program goes, but I assume a component of it platform goes on YouTube.
Right.
That's not going away. Maybe if there's a nuclear warhead that makes the appropriate nuclear strike, and then we're eating each other like zombies, maybe that'll do it. But until that happens, this is where we are. And because we're in that environment, you can do anything. you can release anything. My graphic novel, Matty's Rocket, right, yes, was produced in my studio. It was printed in my studio. It was bound in Long Island because my binder was messing up. But that's what it is. Now, eventually, I'm now going back to Ingram so I don't have to be weighed down with order fulfillment so much. But I'm glad I had that experience because no one can stop you from producing content anymore. Those days are over. If a person is producing content and they're frustrated because they can't get their content out there, that's just not an excuse anymore.
Right.
And trust me, I'm the master of excuses. You know what I mean? I can waste 20 years giving you excuses, but that had to end 5-6 years ago because you can't stop it. Nobody can stop it.
What about the censorship that goes on a lot of times with the content?
What censorship of weight are you referring to?
Like, for example, this fake news phenomenon. Like, we know that, yellow journalism existed for decades.
All right.
But I'm talking about I guess it's punishment for 2016, how alternative media outlets really changed the narrative on certain things, such as the elections, such as how people thought about certain events, that happened in real time. But the censorship thing, people taking down YouTube videos. I had a video taken down that I did with Dick Gregory from 5 years ago about Sandy Hook. That was 5 years ago, but they punished me for it. So, what's your thing?
And you should have been punished. I would say it to you this way. Censorship always exists in the higher or lower levels depending upon the time that we're in. What you're describing, from my understanding and understanding of it, is the quote unquote culling of the YouTube creator pool and the demonetization within it.
Big deal.
So I went through that with my twin brother with a show called we're still producing called the Diesel Funk Show.
Right.
Because that was the point where we started okay, we're going to produce enough content to produce 8 24-minute episodes of our show. But then we're like, this YouTube thing was fascinating. So we just went all in on YouTube and got our butts handed to us because we actually achieved monetization.
Right.
But, time happens. We couldn't produce as much. And then not 5 months later, then YouTube began their sweep. And a bunch of people got demonetized.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I was like, wait, I paid money to do what y'all needed. I'm monetized. You're going to take that away? Okay, goodbye. So I don't have to do that anymore. You can leave that to the Casey Neistats and those guys who are awesome at what they do. But it's I think Gary Vaynerchuk says it best. You have to buy low when the property is low. And now to go into YouTube, the property is very high.
Right.
So it's not everybody's going to get in. And it used to bother me, but now it's whatever. There's so many outlets. YouTube's not the only thing out there.
Yeah, but also we live in some people would call it gig economy.
Okay.
How can you monetize your content? I mean, all these sites exist because of people producing content.
You just asked me your question. You'll have to produce content. And then you have to find a way at a specific point during the production, distribution, and consumption process to monetize.
Right.
And that's different for every project. So for me, I did Matty's Rocket as thin floppies first. And I sold a few. I sold several thousand of them.
Wow.
But I only sold them for $5.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Your work all the time, the laborers hours you put into that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I love the labor, but I'm saying I couldn't, I made money, but I wasn't oh my God, I can retire early. No, that didn't happen. But the graphic novel is different.
Right.
Graphic novels cost 4 times as much because it's 5 times as much story. So that is the sweet spot. But like I said, you live and you learn about processes and you make mistakes and you make course corrections. That's being an entrepreneur, which I'm not the greatest entrepreneur in the world, but I love course correcting. It's something that I've learned to do. I love the process of branding and marketing and taking a concept and disseminating it out to the public and having them catch. That's, oh my God, I never thought I would do something that was as much fun as creating the comic itself.
Wow.
I love that part. Now, I'm by no means, I don't tweet every day. I don't post every day, but I do selective posts to build a brand. And it's kind of, it's for me at least, it's something that is very much a part of the new world, but it pulls inspiration from the old world of how people promoted products. Because people are not buying Matty's Rocket for Matty's Rocket, they're buying me.
Right.
And the fact that I produce Matty's Rocket is the thing that they're buying.
Right. But
sometimes they're buying Matty's Rocket first, and then they go, oh, who's this guy who created it? So it's a self perpetuating model, business model, that if you push, can actually be very lucrative. You just have to push. And you have to also understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Mm-hmm. Get really down on your strengths, but leave that weakness stuff alone. You know, either find someone else to do it or don't do that, you know, or find a way to operate without that, which is hard to do sometimes, but that's what you have to do. So I think producing content, that is the whole gig economy. Yeah, all right, we're in the gig economy.
Right.
I used to be, man, you grind every day, because that was what I'm too old for that. I can't grind like that, man. I don't even try to grind like that. Because after a while, you just grind. And there's some people who can do that.
Right.
They love it.
Like Casey Neistat, like every day making a video.
Yeah, but even then he burned out.
Right.
For a second. He had to stop because it was like, dude, you're going to kill yourself. That's why my Jim and I got off, my twin brother and I, we got off that treadmill. Because it's a treadmill. It's never ending.
Right.
So what we decided to do, and this is where I'm talking about learning to like course corrections, even though they may be frustrating. It's like streaming, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon, Roku, PS4, Xbox Network, those and more of those streaming, so Stars, Bravo,
right.
You know, IFP, you know, Sundance Channel. Those people need content. They need content. Bad. You know, it's never going to stop. The only time it'll stop is when they go out of business. And there's people who, their lives, they got house payments.
Right.
So they have to keep that company going. So this is why Disney buying up everything. Because they need content.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they bought Marvel, Lucasfilm, Pixar, because their brand was dependent on getting these massive legacy EIPs in order to survive. And that's what they did. And they were very successful at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You give us like a education. You know, that's why it's so powerful to do these type of things, to put this information out here. Because a lot of people are not aware of these things about how Disney is more than just Disney. It's a big conglomerate.
Yeah, it's a multinational conglomeration. They own ABC and ESPN.
Right. So they control all, like the game last night, the finals game last night. But I'm going to ask you this, 'cause I'm very curious. I want to get your point of view because you're a native. It's Black Music Month, June.
All right.
And my understanding, Mississippi produced more Grammy winners than any state in the whole country. What is it about Mississippi that produced so many creative geniuses? What is it about this state?
Mississippi will both make you creative in order to survive and drive you insane at the same time. Thus the creative genius.
Yes, sir. And I also want to ask you this, because we talked about this off record, but Thomas Ellaby.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about him? A person who's, I think, is an unsung artistic creative genius from the Mississippi Delta, like the Mississippi Delta version of Charles White.
Right. You know, I knew Thomas Ellaby growing up, and but it wasn't like we were the same age.
Right.
I was a young boy. And I was an artist, and the first thing I could tell you about that I knew even as a young boy about Ellaby was this guy, his art skill, not just the concepts of what he was drawing. It was the pure, insane technical skill of his images, or how he did them, was just off the charts. He was clearly touched. He was touched. That's how good he was. He's doing this stuff with crayons.
Yeah, regular crayons.
Crayola crayons.
It's hard to believe when you look at that stuff.
I've never seen anything like it.
Right.
He's doing it with Crayola crayons.
Wow.
At the same time, that dude, as amazing as he was as as an artist, he was also trouble, very trouble. Now, some people say, well, how do you know he was troubled? I'm like, anyone who was that good trying to do that type of work in this region where, it was just enough to be a black man, it's a totally separate thing to be a black artist. And then you have someone who's really the equivalent of a prodigy in the Delta. It's like, there's no room for a person like that. And if Ellaby in New York he probably would have flamed out, like a lot of people do, like a Basquiat. But in a New York City, he would have been like, oh my God, Jesus has just walked off the bus, man. Look at this stuff we're going to, oh my God. That's how good he was. But he was doing that right across 50 feet from Mackey Lake on the campus, Coleman Junior College campus. And, I knew that because my dad tried as best he could to support him. But, he was a multiple handfuls.
Thanks. This in a situation where we find ourselves in this age of technology, we had thrive regardless if you lived in Mississippi because of the internet and all these outlets you talked about. You would think it'd been a different scenario for him in terms of success.
No question. No question. It's what I was talking about. The owner of this facility, Chandra Williams, is that the way you operate in this environment where you have scarcity, because there's scarcity outside, right? That means you can't depend on the things, bringing things inside to support it because there's not enough outside. Like this town Clarksdale is interesting. Clarksdale does not have the economic base to support the type of creative endeavors one would do on the old model, right? But the new model says, well, what you do is you skip that.
Right.
And you generate content from within. And you stream that content out. There are at least 10 to 15,000 people in Clarksdale. In that 10 to 15,000 people, I would gather there are at least 200 that have very interesting stories. That's the first thing. Secondly, there's a tour bus that comes in here every few days.
Right.
Because everybody's fascinated with the Mississippi Delta. Everybody's looking for that deal with the devil. Like, you better stop looking for that deal with the devil. It doesn't exist.
Right.
It doesn't exist, but it's a cool story. But what it is if you access technology,
right,
you can subvert all of that because you're not dependent upon people solely in your immediate environment. You are creating content that can be parceled into the revenue stream in China, in Nigeria, in New York, in San Francisco, because people are utterly fascinated by Clarksdale.
Yeah.
They're utterly fascinated by Lula, Mississippi, Kahoma, Mississippi, Greenville, Mississippi. All you got to do is, the good thing about that gig economy, the gig economy promotes self-reliance and getting up off your butt. And, that's the thing. The thing about the gig economy is that it's not pretty.
Right.
It's very ugly. And people say, well, what do you mean? Meaning that you're not going to bathe sometimes. You're going to be stinking sometimes. But it's like you're here. You're part of the gig economy. You say, okay, Tim Fielder is, an artist of some note. And he is here. And I have got to make the 45-minute trip from Memphis to Clarksdale. I got 1 hour to get here and interview him. So I have to get in the car and go.
Right.
Because he's got it here tomorrow.
That's right.
But you can take that and put it into the stream. Now, I say my benefit to sit here and get interviewed because I have this. Matty's Rocket, go to dieselfunk.com or mattysrocket.com and check it out. But I have to promote that stuff.
Right.
And the thing that, I talk, obviously I have no problem talking because I come
you were very inspiring talker. I mean, I was motivated to just look at your TED Talk to get in my car. Go 90 miles per hour.
Right. Well, I was raised by, my mom could talk as well, but she had her own unique style. But I was raised by a man that was a DI. A DI is a drill inspector.
Okay.
A drill inspector is those guys, those, hats. Yeah. That's what he was in the military. And then he became an athletic coach.
Wow.
So we're used to being around a guy who could project his voice to get what he wanted.
Right.
Make you do very often what you didn't want to do.
Right.
So I can talk, just like all my brothers can talk. And I'm not even the best of the talkers, but I can talk.
Wow.
And it's because I was raised in that environment. Now, in the old world, that would have been bad. But in the new world, I can talk and hold a conversation. And this is for the people in this region, in the Delta region. Oh, if you can talk and you can, be videotaped, that means you have you can use, it's like audio. It's like a podcast. You can do it.
But you manifest your reality because words create worlds. You actually manifesting things. Like you talk about manifestation, but you speak things, truth to empower. You actually create your own reality.
Yeah, thank you for saying a nice way of saying I talk a lot. I appreciate
No,
I do. I'm saying to you, that's what it is. That's literally what it is. It's like I use an example in my class. I was, because I'm down here to teach these girls with this organization, the Young Lights. And we have our last event today.
Excellent.
And the thing that's fascinating about it is that I had them close their eyes one moment. And I started barking. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I asked them to open their eyes and I said, what did you see? Some of them said, I saw a dog. I saw a dog. I saw a big dog. I saw a small dog. I said, it's because all words and audio visuals and sound they're just, your brain is just reacting to it. Right?
That's right.
So when you're manifesting something, which is, I guess, part of what I was saying in my TED Talk, all you're doing is, speaking truth to power. I think, yeah, but I'm not that slick, so I can't speak truth to power. But I can talk a good game. I prefer to say that. I prefer to say that I'm here to have fun. I'm not necessarily here to bring about massive social movements. I don't think I'm necessarily the best person for that. But I think what I can do is shed light about those people who are in that struggle. That's what I do. I'm an entertainer first. You know what I mean? Like everybody's woke these days.
Right.
I'm mildly woke. You know what I mean? I'm mildly woke. But first and foremost, I'm a graphic novelist. I'm a comic book guy. I'm a teacher. That's what I am. And I use those tools to move the things that move me, move my community, move my family forward. And those things intersect with those, meaning, my book here was done because, my mom and dad didn't have this as young kids in the 30s and 40s.
Right.
So my job is almost like I've said this before, as an anthropologist, to fill in those blanks. That's what retro Afrofuturism is, because they didn't see black women or black men like themselves in spaceships.
Right.
So I'm going to do it.
That's right.
No one else going to do it. That's the thing I've learned. No one else is going to do it, so it leaves it to me to do it. And that's really that is the mandate of any artist. No one's going to do what you want to do. So you have to do it. Like I want to do a massive African warfare epic based in the Benin Kingdom, because the Benin warriors had armor. A lot of people don't like the Benin. Oh no, we prefer the others. I'm like, yeah, but the samurai was not the most noble of warriors, but they were feudal as hell.
Right.
And they look cool because they had cool armor, right? And these katanas. But Africa had kingdoms just as glorious as that. And they were just as dramatic and all the other stuff. And they betrayal and the palace intrigue. And, they had great warriors and, cowardly warriors. They had all that. And I want to see a film where 1,000 Benin warriors come over with their muskets and the armor and the helmets. But nobody's going to do that. I do. You know, I think we're closer to people maybe considering doing it now.
Because of success of Black Panther?
Of course. It's $1.5 billion. Even Bob Iger understood that. Mm-hmm. That's why he quickly greenlit Black Panther 2. You know, smart man. You know, smart.
Well, actually, just about Black. I don't mean to cut you off, but Black Panther, you are a master storyteller. What do you think about the storytelling of the movie? I mean, did it make sense?
It did. I thought Black Panther is something Calvin Reed and I, who are the senior editor at Publishers Weekly, we did an interview. We were talking about, you know, it wasn't a perfect film. Mm-hmm. You know, no film is. Some are better than others.
Right.
But pound for pound, Black Panther, in my opinion, was very good. Mm-hmm. It was a very good movie. Mm-hmm. It was solid. It had compelling characterizations. It had all these amazing warrior women around there. Mm-hmm. It had a king who, in my opinion, a lot of people say, well, he's not heroic enough. He gets beat or whatever. Yeah. He did. He got his butt kicked a few times. Yeah. But he was a king that was able to self-correct. And that was the most noble thing about T'Challa to me, was that he was able to say, this is what I've been told to do, or what the mandate of the king says to do. But, you know, there's this thing that you have to do that's about doing right.
Right.
And he was willing to lose his kingdom to do that. You know what I mean? It's like, it was when he tried to fight against that when he got his butt kicked.
Right.
Because Killmonger was clearly, in certain ways, a better fighter. Mm-hmm. You know? I thought that, the director, Coogler.
Ryan Coogler,
I've butchered his name in the past. He did a great thing. Mm-hmm. He did a great thing, man. I mean, thank God for him, man. Thank God for him. It's like, you know, I'm 51, mm-hmm. and I've done stuff like that on paper.
Right.
I have it. You know, Black Metropolis, you know, long bridge like the Causeway in New Orleans, but there are buildings on the side of them, mm-hmm. and you know, hooked to the bridge, and they're all like African sculptures, and they're, you know, passenger liners with like 4 engines, but jet fighters escorting them into an airport that leads into the side of the bridge. That's where you land it. You know, they have VTOL engines that pop up and pull it to a brake. That type of stuff I've done. That's just like what Black Panther was. But that was 1989, 1990 when I did that. And no one was going to publish that work then. And there was no digital technology to speak of to bring that to life.
So, like, you was very visionary. Is that frustrating to be a pioneer or have that type of vision that early? Like, I remember, like, Black Panther was trying to be, Wesley Snipes was trying to make Black Panther in the 90s.
Right.
And to be shut, I mean, people forget that Blade actually saved the superhero movie.
There's no
Blade franchise. Right. And he did that, but is it frustrating to have these type of visions, to have this type of understanding where we'll to change the course and not have the resources available to do so?
It was. Mm-hmm. It was very, very frustrating up to recently. Mm-hmm. Where, because, you know, God, you know, everyone's getting their stuff out. I didn't get my stuff out till it dawned on me, oh, dude, you can get your stuff out. So I just started releasing everything. And now I feel like I am ironically right in the middle of all of it. I'm writing it. It's like Black Metropolis was this concept I created. You know, it's actually, it shares a title with this book talking about Chicago. It's called Black Metropolis. Mm-hmm. But, now it's resurrected. It started as a one-man show in 2016. We had a year and a half layoff. Now it'll be at the Hammond's house in Atlanta, Georgia for 1 month.
Wow.
Which is an expose of 30 years of my career. But the other subset of that is that Black Metropolis is going to be my memoirs. I've lived long enough and I have enough crazy stuff to say that I think people would get something from me telling my life story in comic form, but surrounded by all of the art that I created mm-hmm. over the decades. And so, now I'm like right in the middle of it. Right.
You have created that, but you have manifested that new world.
I did. And let me be very clear. There are mm-hmm. a bunch of brothers and sisters who have done that. Mm-hmm. But I began to realize just from interacting with people and organizations and businesses that my primary focus and responsibility is making sure that I disseminate the content I create out. I can't do that for anyone else. They have to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I collaborate with someone, that's different. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying, like, for example, I have self-published MATTY'S Rocket through Diesel Funk Studios.
Right.
But now I'm actively getting a book deal. Actively. A mainstream book deal. Mm-hmm. Because now, for the first time, mainstream Afrofuturistic concepts are actually, they're viable. And the companies see it as viable. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, as a business person, as a person who likes to eat and not eat cat food for a living, you know, I am duty bound to look into it. And if I'm approached with the right deal, that, you know, money is important, very important. But to me, it's, can I get the work out? Can I disseminate the work to the largest audience possible? That's where my focus is.
Yeah.
And if I can do that myself or get a company to do that, good. I'll go with it.
I got to do a couple of parts. I know you short for time. Uh-huh. I want to ask you this question about MATTY'S Rocket. If it got made into a live action, or when it does get made into a live action movie, who could play Matty?
There are 3 people. Uh-huh. The first is a young actress by the name of Genesis Rivera, who lives out of Brooklyn, New York. And she could play it because she is a brilliant actress, extraordinarily beautiful. Mm-hmm. She is in a horror film that was directed by my twin brother called Flo, which will be out hopefully in the next few months.
Excellent.
But Matty was based on her visually. Mm. So she is essentially walking as a version of Matty Waddy walking around.
Is she aware of the fact that
she knows.
Wow.
There's a version of Matty Waddy walking around who's about 28, 29 years old now. And that's Matty. The only thing she doesn't have is the white hair. The other person is Janelle Monáe, who, you know, if interested, you know, Monáe seems to, her music is one thing, you know, but she also has extraordinary interest in the filmic medium, the cinematic medium. She likes doing that type of stuff.
And she's been proving that she got, pretty good stuff.
She can act, you know, Hidden Figures. The new thing she just released was Tessa Thompson. Pink. Was it Pink?
Oh, there's something. But she's getting paid. She's working, though.
She's working, and she's creating a more multifaceted variant. That's not just her. She's been doing it for a while, but her stuff is not just music. It's the music, it's the visuals, but it's the narrative.
Because she had the Metropolis album, right? It's very Afrofuturistic.
So she's been doing it for a while. Yeah. It's just that what I am questioning about Janelle Monáe is not so much her music, because, you know, her music, it's not everybody's taste.
Right.
I think her stuff is fun. You know, I like it.
Yeah.
But for me, the meat for her is in the film. Mm-hmm. That you take the music and you put it to film, but you have to do it in a sufficiently long enough format to stream it on Netflix. Mm-hmm. Meaning that her next move, in my opinion, needs to be a science fiction series. It doesn't need to. She don't need to do another music video. There are tons of music videos. Right. Well, let me correct that. She can do whatever she wants to do, but there's opportunity for someone like her who can act, who has an understanding of Afrofuturism, who has built her brand on that, to take it to a longer format and access that stream, that content stream, that delivery system, that revenue stream. Right. There's a great opportunity. And then the third person is, you have some actors out there who have been in the game a long time, black female actors, and Gabrielle Union is amazing. I'll be interested in seeing what Kerry Washington is going to be doing post Scandal. You know, meaning that, you know, okay, she did Scandal. Scandal was great. That's awesome, man. She did it. You know, she's a multi-millionaire. She can kick back. But if she just wants to work, she can do another show, or she can do MATTY'S Rocket.
That sounds excellent.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. And there are tons of actors like Vanessa Bell Calloway, you know. And, you know, some are older, some are younger, it doesn't matter. But these are, you know, I mean, she doesn't look like it because black don't crack, but, you know, T'Challa's mom.
Angela Bassett.
T'Challa's mom is pretty amazing and, you know, can pass for 40, you know, because she's a walking statue. That's what she is. That's what she is. And, you know, Viola Davis is, you know, these great actors and stuff out there. And so that's interesting.
It's excellent. And like, what's a short definition of Afrofuturism?
Let me get this fly one. That's the definition of Afrofuturism. Afrofuturism is a mode of operation in which you take Afrocentric concepts, whether it be political, social, economic elements, and race-based elements, and you infuse them into any form. So you can take those elements of Afrocentricity and infuse it into fashion. You know, but for clarity, that Afrocentric elements, those race-based elements, generally have a forward-thinking nature that embraces technology. But it also can be retro in that it embraces the past and infuses them together. So like Diesel Funk is what that's about. It's about taking diesel ideas, technology from that 1930s, 1940s period, 50s period, but then fusing it with Afrocentricity. But that could be applied to dance. It could be applied to fashion. It could be applied to comics and graphic novels. It could be applied to film. It could be applied to the idea of a guy who is a content creator in Memphis, Tennessee, who has technology, who can get in a car and use a car to drive through a cotton field that used to be farmed by his ancestors, over decades, involuntarily done. But he's now in a vehicle using a piece of high-tech equipment to record someone who is an active Afrofuturist. That's Afrofuturism.
Thank you so much, Brother Tim. How can we support your vision?
Twitter, DieselFunk, STU. Facebook, just go to DieselFunk. Instagram, go to DieselFunk. Web, www.dieselfunk.com. For the show I'm producing with my brother, www.dieselfunkshow.com. For his production thing, which is coming together very soon, www.blackpie, BLACKPI.com. And that's it.
Thank you, Brother Tim. In the words of Great Duke Guzzi, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing.
Live long and prosper, folks.